This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex podcast from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs, presented by Yahoo Fantasy. I am your host, Chris Raybon. NFL Week 1 is here. As always, I am joined by one of the most accurate rankers in the game, one of the best projectors in the biz, with the hardware from Fantasy Pros accuracy contest to back it up, the odds maker, Sean Koerner. And we are splitting our player projections pod into two for week 1 because we got a lot to talk about. So we'll get into wide receivers and tight ends here in this one, but don't miss quarterbacks and running backs in part 1, which is available right now in your podcast feed. Quick reminder, all of our fantasy content is available over on fantasylabs.com. You can find all of our rankings, projections, and more at fantasylabs.com or in the Fantasy Labs app. Use promo code FLEX20 for $20 off an annual NFL subscription. That's FLEX20 for $20 off an annual NFL subscription. That will get you some very, very accurate rankings and projections. I promise. Let's get it. All right, Sean Koerner, week 1, 2025, wide receiver top 5. Where we going?
All right, I got Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, and AJ Brown.
Ooh, that is a spicy top 5.
Who's spicy? Who's the spicy one?
I would say AJ Brown's kind of a little higher than I thought. Also, I think CeeDee Lamb is the consensus wide receiver 2. So, and he's out of my top 5 as well. Just a lot of question marks in Dallas. Not like a major knock on him, but I know the Eagles are having some issues in the secondary, but still very, very good defense. But I have Chase, Jefferson, Nico Collins, Malik Neighbors, and my guy, Brian Thomas Jr. That's my top 5.
There we go.
That's
sexy. A spicy top 5. Nico, you're coming around on Nico, huh?
I mean, I like the matchup. I think the way you attack the Rams is, you do want to throw outside on them this year, and I think it's week 1 too. So whatever happens with Higgins and Noel and all these guys, like right now, Nico's healthy and he is, there's chemistry to still be kind of made with those other guys, but he's the holdover. So really like him this week. High floor, high ceiling guy. But who are you high on wide receiver this week?
Well, where do you have CD ranked? I guess him not being our top 5 is.
But 6. Yeah, it's like so he's right there. It's not a Nacua is actually. I mean, usually he'd be in my top 5, but I do respect that Houston. And I do want to see how it kind of plays out with Devontae, even though I think Devontae has the lower floor. I don't think Puka's going to have major, sustain major effects, but just there's enough, with the Stafford situation, and so I'm a little bit of a caution. But really, I just needed to get my guy Brian Thomas in there.
So the first guy I'm high on is Xavier Worthy. He's just inside my top 12. With Rashee Rice getting suspended now for the first 6 games, that means Worthy's value is going to be elevated early on. We thought that Rice might get suspended midseason. Now that it's, weeks 1 through 6 or whatever, Worthy is in play for me week 1 as a potential, low end wide receiver 1. Because, he ended his rookie season really strong. He was wide receiver 11 in the final 3 games, was really solid in the playoffs, had that, massive Super Bowl performance against the Eagles, 8 catches, 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of them was that bullshit play at the end that cost me my Mahomes bet by a yard. So that was bullshit. But, Worthy just entering year 2, he has the speed. Imagine if he refines his route running, gets better chemistry with Mahomes. So I like him heading into week 1 here. And like you said, guys like Jalen Royals are out as well. So I think, Mahomes is going to have to lean on Worthy even more week 1. Plus he could get, a couple design handoffs. We saw, he had some explosive runs, touchdowns that way. last season. So I think week 1 is the time to really fire up Worthy.
Yeah, he was super consistent down the stretch and might even be a better situation this year because I think, Royals was a guy who was like a wild card, another guy they could kind of, I think they gave him a rush attempt in the preseason and he took it a pretty good distance and, just another receiver. But now it's like Marquise Brown, again, is not fully healthy, probably is limited. Rice is out. Kelsey is a year older. Juju's a year older on his like third childhood or whatever it is, rebirth. So so it somehow could shape up as an even better situation early in the year for Worthy. And he probably gets that 1 to 2 rush attempts. And he was another guy that when they get in the red zone, that's one of the reasons I always kind of proceed with caution with Pacheco. Is Pacheco, even though he's like an early down guy, doesn't usually get those goal line and red zone looks because they split it up, and Worthy's one of the guys that factors in there. So yeah, I think Worthy this is just the best possible. I don't like Mahomes, but Worthy definitely is the guy that benefits from all this chaos with the Chiefs. Who else you like for week 1 at wide receiver?
Emeka Egbuka is a guy I'm high on. Opens the week as my wide receiver 26. The consensus last I looked was wide receiver 31. I bet that goes up as we get closer to kickoff because, his value just has been skyrocketing the last few weeks, heading into his rookie season. When he landed in Tampa, it reminded me of CeeDee Lamb, JSN, 2 first-round rookies that I knew were going to be studs. We all knew were going to be studs eventually, but they just landed on a team that already had 2 solid wide receivers already. And that was the case with Egbuka with, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin there. But Chris Godwin's going to be out for, I guess, week 1 and who knows how much longer. And Jalen McMillan, who, he might have been competing with some snaps for, is going to be out the first half of the season. So it's really wheels up for Egbuka right out of the gates here. So I view him really as a low-end wide receiver 2, where you can trust him week 1 in most formats. And then we'll see, if and when Chris Godwin comes back, how his role will change. But now is the time, especially, to be, rolling him out there.
Yeah, he looked good in the limited preseason action he got, and they didn't feel the need to run him out there for a ton. So I feel like he's good. And I think it's we thought maybe he was going to start more as like a Godwin slot guy, a lot of run blocking, but I mean, he's been playing a lot outside, looked really good doing it too. So yeah, a lot of upside there with Egbuka. I'm high on a rookie as well, Travis Hunter, wide receiver 37. Like, come on, this guy. First of all, again, it's the Panthers. They gave up the most passing production in the league last year, touchdown wise. They don't get a lot of pressure. Hunter, he's been playing in the slot, and that's where he's listed on the depth chart. That would put him up against Smith Wade, who's a second year 5th rounder from last year who wasn't very good in coverage, 51.6 coverage grade. Now could make a year 2 jump, but not as likely for a 5th rounder. If he was first round pick, 2nd round pick, day 2 pick, you'd be like, okay, maybe he's a better bet to make a jump, but this could be a great matchup for him. And if he's also playing defense, that just gives him more opportunities, a couple extra cracks. It's kind of like when you guy is a returner. It's like he could get a pick 6. And this is Bryce Young, no Thielen, no Coker, who were the top 2 receivers in yardage that Bryce Young connected with last year. So all of a sudden now he's throwing up 50-50 balls to Tet McMillan, and he's got to force them in there to get. And Hunter Renfrow. Didn't the last time we saw Hunter Renfrow, he was running the wrong route and bumping into Devontae Adams, and
That's right.
causing all types of Derek Carr retirements and whatnot. So yeah, this could get we've seen the floor for Bryce Young on. So don't even discount if he does play some defensive snaps. But this is, when have we ever had a receiver that could potentially play 80% of the snaps on offense and still have defensive upside of he could get a fumble return, he could get a pick six. I want to be ahead of this. And the wide receiver, he's not even a starting wide receiver in 3-wide 12-team leagues. That to me is ridiculous. I'm not overthinking it. if you'll take the floor with Travis Hunter if it ends up, not working out in week 1, but everything sets up very well for him, and the injury sounds like it's a non-issue. So like him. And then on the other side of the ball, I do like Xavier Leggett in deeper leagues. Maybe kind of a speculative ad that could pay off full season, but wide receiver 57 rank, I think that's too low. I think he should be in the top 50, top 45 even. No Thielen, no Coker. Just mentioned it. That was Bryce Young's top 2 guys last year. So now you're talking about Tet, who's going to be tethered to the line, get a lot of press coverage and whatnot. Legette's going to be able to move around more, and this could be a higher scoring game than people think. So I think it sets up well for Legette in week 1. And before we move on, let's do a segment presented by Yahoo Fantasy that we're calling What Makes You Number One? Sean Koerner, we're going to get a piece of advice from you here. What is the number one thing that fantasy managers overreact to after NFL week 1 that they should not sweat?
I think it'd be their actual box score. If a guy puts up a goose egg, that's obviously bad, or just has a bad game. It could be a little bit misleading, because that's why we discuss things like routes run rate, snap rate, things like that. If the underlying usage is still there, they just got a bit unlucky. Those are the kind of guys that I think people overreact to. So I get week 2, we're obviously going to see some of those. So we'll be dissecting those. But I think just looking at the overall results, the actual box score sometimes can lead people to overreact.
Love it. Yeah. Don't be afraid to make some trades if you can buy low, even after week 1. That is our What Makes You Number One segment presented by Yahoo Fantasy. As a reminder, this episode of the Fantasy Flex podcast is presented by Yahoo Fantasy, and the NFL season is here. Fantasy football taking over. Everybody is researching, drafting, putting together their championship squad. So if you have not already joined a league, now's the time. And it's all happening over on Yahoo Fantasy. That's where Sean Koerner and I are playing this season, and you should too. So whether you're a first-timer or a vet making your 10,000 millionth league, it's time to tap in. The NFL season starts September 4th, and now is the time to start playing over on Yahoo Fantasy Football. And they offer a bunch of fun ways to compete. If you want more ways to play, look no further than Yahoo Fantasy. You got guillotine. Let me run that back. If you want more ways to play, look no further than Yahoo Fantasy. They got guillotine leagues where the lowest scoring team each week gets chopped. You have instant ways to play with your friends when you try the new Draft with Friends mode on Yahoo. If you like the classics, you can get your crew together and go head-to-head in a Yahoo private league. Or if you're looking for a new crew to join, you can play in a Yahoo public league, which is the easiest way to play and meet some new peeps. So whatever you're doing, wherever you're playing, it's all possible with Yahoo Fantasy, whatever you need to satisfy that fantasy football itch. So get started and play now at yahoofantasy.com/flex. That's yahoofantasy.com/flex. Who are you low on at wide receiver?
Yeah, I'm low on Garrett Wilson. Opens up as my wide receiver 28. I was down on Wilson heading into the season, not because of the talent. I think he's one of the top 10 receiver in the league, but he's in a tough situation this year. Despite he's probably going to be the clear alpha target in this offense, but I just don't think we're going to see enough volume for that to matter as much, because Justin Fields is going to scramble a ton. And I always say it, every time he pulls the ball down and runs it, that takes away a potential target to someone like Wilson. Plus, if Wilson is a clear alpha in this offense, defenses are going to have an easier time doubling him or just coming up with ways to slow him down specifically. So he might need somebody else like a Mason Taylor to step up to kind of draw some coverage attention away. And this is a tougher matchup against the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers loves to play at a slow pace, could limit the overall volume for the Jets. And this total for this game is 38.5, by far the lowest total of the week by more than 4 points. So probably not going to be as much points here. And Wilson's touchdown upside is lowered the whole season because of that. So not a lot to like for him here. So yeah, he opens up as my wide receiver 28.
Yeah, I feel like everything is related. There's like a Steeler connection, and all these guys are low on because you got another one, former Pittsburgh Steeler.
I'm low on George Pickens here as well. He opens up as my wide receiver 38. Of course, he's playing opening night against the Eagles, and I love his upside in Dallas. I think with CD drawing so much attention away from Pickens, he could have some nice one-on-one matchups downfield. He's going to have a quarterback that can give him more accurate targets in general, especially downfield in Dak Prescott. So I think this could set him up for his best season yet. But at least for week one, I would temper expectations. This Eagles defense is no joke. There's a lot of new pieces this year. So maybe week one is the time they're most vulnerable. But, Vic Fangio's scheme does a really good job of limiting downfield passing, which is where I think, Pickens is going to be offering value. So at least for week one, I'm going to be down on Pickens here at wide receiver 38. But I know long term, he probably will settle in as a low end wide receiver 2. But for week one, I would probably, be careful given the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think love Pickens as a player. I was really excited that, his rookie year, but yeah, I think people are getting really aggressive with, in season long, I think he was up into that like wide receiver top 25. I think that's too high. Just new situation. We don't know what what the pass run splits are going to be like. He has an alpha now in front of him, like a true alpha, not just like a Deontay Johnson who's going to be out of the league in a year alpha. Like, so keep going. And then there's the Pickens kind of, so it's like, yeah, shoot for the fences and whatnot, but he's kind of going at the spot where he's going, I think, a little too close to his ceiling, and same thing ranked wise for week one. So yeah, agreed. And then I'll go with the current Steelers number one receiver. I'm low on DK Metcalf. He's the ECR wide receiver 29. I don't think he's a top 30 option this week. Remember last year, Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, first 4 weeks, just 191 yards on 34 targets over the first 4 weeks for Garrett Wilson. That's 5.6 yards a target and 48 yards receiving per game. So I could see something similar happening with Metcalf, especially because you do have other options there. You do have Jonnu now. Freiermuth seems like he's still going to play a big role. You have running backs you can throw to, which we know Rodgers will do. So I just don't think and then this is going to be a situation where they're going to take time to build chemistry because Rodgers, it's not like he's playing preseason action, and his approach to camp is not always like the best either. So I don't think they're just going to hit the ground running, and then you're still got Sauce on this Jets team, whole new kind of overhaul. So you might actually play to your talent level again. This Jets defense can be very good. So just not really anything positive. And then you mentioned the low total on top of that. So not much positive to where I want wide receivers in this game period. But especially in Aaron Rodgers, 40, what is he, 42 now, 43?
43,
a new wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who doesn't even run the crispest routes, where there are a bunch of underneath options that Rodgers could just kind of dump it down to, and yeah, just too much uncertainty. Metcalf has some upside because Rodgers does like to feed his number one target, but he's got to kind of get that chemistry going, and I don't think this is the game where you want to be betting on Metcalf. So I exercise caution with him.
I missed out. Rodgers is 41. He's older than me.
41.
Which is
okay.
Ancient, but yeah, he's 41.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he's getting up there though. Either way, wrong side of 40, not ideal. Not
no
ideal. What do you got for the prop?
All right, you're gonna love this one. This is why we're a projections pod. He already has props out there. He has a receptions prop. Go look at that if you want to see that. But we're diving into our process. Travis Hunter, his routes run rate. Week 1, over under 82.5%.
I'm gonna go over. I just think I I just want to be aggressive with him. Now you do have a lot of outs because like he could go under if the Jags blow him out too. So there is that risk. But
yeah,
I just see a team get an offensive coach, fire their GM, get his GM that he wants, trade a whole boatload of picks to move up 3 slots to draft a guy who's a wide receiver and a corner. I just have to. And then he said, "Hey, we're gonna play him 80+% of the time." And what was it, 87% in the one preseason game, 87.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was 7 out of 8 or 9 out of 11, something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go over. That's a great line. I'm kind of putting it somewhere in that 80 to 85, kind of fiddling with it. But yeah, I think he's. I think if he goes under, it's because he's been efficient and they're blowing him out.
That's definitely one of the outcomes. Yeah, I was looking at the percentages because I put in Trevor Lawrence's dropbacks, and depending on how many routes, it could go from like 81 to 83. So I thought 82.5 was the sweet spot. And that's routes run. So it's not percentage of snaps. There's probably going to be a play where the Jaguars are lined up with, Brenton Strange, Johnny Munt out there, and he's on the sideline, but that's a run play. And we're not counting those. These are the percentage of Trevor Lawrence dropbacks where Travis Hunter is running a route as a wide receiver. So, yeah, right now my projection is 82.5% routes run. I think a lot of people are kind of assuming it's going to be like 70%, and they're kind of shocked that he's going to play as much. But like you've been saying, they drafted him second overall to – most importantly, be a wide receiver, and then whatever he can add defensively as a rookie is probably just going to be icing on the cake.
Yeah, if you were first day at your new job, not first day, but first impression at your new job, new coach, taking over, you just essentially traded your entire draft to move up 3 spots to get a wide receiver. You might play 100% of the damn pass snaps.
That's what I'm
like. Would you want Trevor Lawrence's goofy ass dropping back without Travis Hunter running around? Like, come on now.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like,
let's be serious here.
Yeah, I like if over 95.5% would still just be like 2-1 odds. It wouldn't be crazy. Like, it's definitely possible.
Yeah. Tim Patrick can take those run blocking snaps. And,
exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I feel like because that's the whole thing too is because he also offers this defensive versatility. You do have to maximize Hunter, so the way you maximize him is getting him in there on every single drop back, taking him out on some run snaps, and I wouldn't be surprised if Thomas and Hunter are like 95 and up. I mean, that's. Like again, week 1, you always see some surprises, but I agree. I think people are a little bit too low. Wide receiver 31 is criminal. 37, is criminal in terms of ZCR. All right, tight end. Let's close it out strong. Who you got in your top 5 for week 1, Sean?
I got Trey McBride, Brock Bowers, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and Tyler Warren. Just kidding. It's Mark Andrews. To round out the top 5. Boring like top 5, but maybe eventually someone like Tyler Warren will creep into one of our, top 5s one of these weeks.
Yeah, I still got Bowers number 1. I'm not buying into the whole whatever. He's still my number 1 guy. But I mean, McBride number 2, obviously. Kittle, Laporta. And I got TJ Hawkinson as my tight end 5. But like that Andrews call, I'll talk more about him in a second. But who are you high on?
I'm high on Juwan Johnson, mainly because he's going into the season with very little hype. So I think it's time to at least discuss him here because, our boy Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau are both opening the season on the PUP list. The only other tight end listed on their depth chart right now is Maliki Matavio, their 7th round rookie. He's 6'8", 263. So maybe he's going to be a sneaky touchdown bet. But he's likely in there to block. So I think Juwan could see an 80% plus routes run rate along with Travis Hunter in week 1. And Juwan's a former wide receiver. He's certainly more than capable of handling that. But this is, a new offense under Kellen Moore. Could maximize Juwan's upside. So I think he's a sneaky plan, like, DFS, props, things like that. So he's my tight end 22 to open up the week, whereas ECR is tight end 28. But felt like Juwan Johnson needs some love here heading into week 1.
Yeah, definitely sneaky. I feel like Kellen Moore offense, he had Goddard running routes by the end of the year. Once Goddard got healthy, he was out there 90+% of the time. Kellen Moore got those Dalton Schultz seasons in Dallas, and so yeah, I think definitely sneaky. And there's nothing else there. You're right. It's just Matavio. Yeah, Maliki Matavao is, and then they'll probably call up like a Jack Stoll or somebody like that. So yeah, good
someone
spot
that's
for
not going to chip away too much, and they don't have Prentice anymore, so like there's just less bodies for Juwan to compete with. Not that he's not really out there to block anyway, but still, his routes run rate should be up there.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely. It's the Saints. I mean, the Saints are somebody's got to do something on the Saints. That's why same reason I like Kamara. Like Shaheed is going a little bit overlooked, even, like Olave. Like the Saints aren't. It's like they're still gonna have to move the football, and they do have an offensive coach. Like, yes, Spencer Rattler is terrible, but like even if they're behind, offense will occur.
Yeah.
So
how bad was Tyler Shuck then if he lost the job to Rattler? I mean, he's already like a 26-year-old rookie. They invested second round draft capital, and he couldn't even beat out Rattler. I guess we'll see, how the season unfolds. But.
Yeah, they also got 2 quarterbacks on the practice squad. It's one of those things where I feel like, because like Rattler was a prior regime kind of guy, so it's like it might be one of those things where it's like, all right, start him. He fails, and then we're just done with him. Like, you could cross him off the list and just grant him his outright release or something and go forward with the quarterbacks he actually like. That seems like where this is headed.
Fair enough, yeah.
I mean, you average under 13 points a start. And I don't feel like he really won it. I actually thought Shuck did look better in the preseason, or at least just as good. So we'll see how that goes. But who do I like? Oh yeah, Andrews. I mean, you're even higher than I am on him, but yeah, I thought tight end 8 was low too.
Yeah,
maybe he will end up in my top 5 because it's kind of, Kelsey, Hockenson, Andrews, they're all really close, and don't really love what's going on in KC, and don't really know what we're going to get out of Kelsey. And then Hockenson, I did have some good games against the Bears, but they're a little bit of different squad. We'll see what's going on with their corner injuries. But Andrews, when I look at Buffalo and the matchup, first of all, likely being out obviously is great news. Or, I mean,
I think
like
he's
out.
Yeah, I think he's like questionable, but he didn't.
Yeah, he's not officially.
I have him zeroed out. Do you have him zeroed out, or do you still have some?
Same. Yeah, I'm gonna zero him out until we see receiver it otherwise. But so that's good. Then Buffalo, they spent a lot of picks on defense, but still week 1, so their top 6 linebackers are back, and PFF actually talked about how they brought their other linebackers back, but they had the lowest graded linebacker core, and really Milano just wasn't the same guy in coverage, and then you still have questions at safety too for the Bills. So it's like this, it still sets up. If Likely was in, we'd love Likely too, but with him out, I think it sets up as a spot where Andrews is going to be busy, because Zay Flowers, for whatever reason, had a pretty slow game in that matchup against the Bills last time. We'll see how that goes this time. I do think he'll have a better game, but I think he only had like 1 or 2 catches in that last matchup. So, and then he didn't play in the postseason. So yeah, I think this is Andrews' time to get that revenge for what's been kind of dogging him all offseason, that drop against the Bills. I think it's a good spot for him. You always want those teams with the shaky linebackers and safeties against tight ends. So yeah, that's a good call on Andrews in the top 5. Might end up there as well. Who you low on at tight end?
I'm low on Jonnu Smith. Opens up as my tight end 19 against the Jets. And like I mentioned on some of our season long pods, I think Jonnu's a solid flyer at tight end. I mean, he was the tight end 5 last year, right? So already had a top 5 season last year. Granted, that was on the Dolphins, but I think people are overlooking the fact he could be the top 2 target for Aaron Rodgers, if not even the top target, because DK Metcalf is more of a high value target guy. He's going to get a lot of looks downfield, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have the most targets. So Jonnu Smith could be the leader in targets for the Steelers, but there's still a ton of uncertainty here. We still have Pat Freiermuth in the mix, and this is a game that we've already mentioned a few times now. The totals at 38.5. There's probably not going to be much scoring going on here. So this is a week where I'm not running out to play Jonnu Smith everywhere, but I think we'll see how this shakes out. It wouldn't surprise me if Jonnu Smith, like I said, is a top 2, if not even the top target on the Steelers. So like his upside long term, but week 1, I'm going to be a little bit cautious here.
Yeah, this is setting up as an offense where they want to have multiple options everywhere, right? Like they have Smith and Freiermuth at tight end. They have the 3-headed monster, we think, at running back with Johnson, Gainwell, and then Warren to lead it. And then at receiver, yeah, you have the Metcalf as that alpha, but behind him, I mean, that's also anyone's guess. Is it going to be? It sounds like they love Roman Wilson. They've talked up Calvin Austin, but then we were hearing Skowronek is getting a bunch of snaps, and Scotty Miller and Rodgers have chemistry. So who knows? I mean, that's don't want to be easy to game plan against, but that's not great for us in fantasy, especially with a total of 38 in week 1. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going Evan Ingram this week. He's tight end 9 ECR. I just don't think he's I have to see it. He's kind of a wait and see with me. I want to see what the role truly is, what the routes run rate truly is. Where does he fall in the pecking order? And then, this matchup against Tennessee, they were pretty decent against tight ends. I still think you want to go at them at the corners out and go outside, and there's just, you want to feed Harvey too. Dobbins is there. Just so many mouths to feed that I'm sure they're gonna scheme something up for Ingram, but he might have to make more with less. And I just think top 10 tight end. I see some there's higher floor options even in week 1 at the position than Ingram, because his floor is probably like what 50-60% routes run, something in that range would be definitely. So all right, tight end prop, gotta go with Ingram here. Nice. Here I'll give you. You can either have. So you win if Evan Ingram finishes the week in half PPR ranked higher than both rookie tight ends, Loveland and Warren. If one or both outscores Ingram, you lose the bet. So would you take Ingram or the upside of Warren? Warren is, I think, tight end 11, but Loveland's down at tight end 18, which is interesting. So people are kind of sleeping on Loveland, but Warren is kind of challenging. So would you rather have like a guy like both of those guys and bet on one, at least one, or Ingram?
I know. Yeah,
top 10.
I know where I'm going here. I think this is a great prop. Ingram is clearly, the favorite over both rookies, at least for week 1. So I think head to head versus both of them, Ingram's the favorite. But I have Warren pretty close to Ingram, and then Loveland. It wouldn't shock me if he just erupts week 1. So I'm going to go with give me both rookies.
Yeah.
So one of them, I don't know which one.
It doesn't matter. Warren, you win as long as
we'll outscore Evan Ingram. But I think Ingram has the higher floor of the 2 rookies. But since I think that one kind of taps into their ceiling, so I like it. I'll take one of the rookies. Damn. So we have 8 props for week 1. Wow.
Yeah, it's fun though, because I think, like you said, no routes run data yet, so a lot of uncertain situations, a lot of kind of assumptions being made. So yeah, we'll see how we land, but good stuff as always, and that's gonna do it for our NFL Week 1 player projections episode presented by Yahoo Fantasy here on the Fantasy Flex. Make sure to subscribe to the Fantasy Flex pod so you do not miss an episode all season long. We will be back with our DFS episode on Thursday. We also got the touchdown show over on the Action Network pod as well on Thursday. So be sure to subscribe to that as well. You can find Sean on X at @the_oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon. We're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Thank you again to our sponsor, Yahoo Fantasy, the best place to play fantasy football. Until next time, let's get this money.